And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
So I believe the most part of my life I was in default until probably around 2006, that I became more aware of deliberate creation. And strangely enough, I was a martial artist my entire life. And in 2 years ago, I had a lot of contrast. And that made me search for a lot of high frequency vibration. And I was practicing a lot of meditation. And after a while, I started feeling a presence. I don't know if it's anything like you with Esther, but I did felt. Yeah. And I'm from Brazil, and I had a lot of people down there from the street come to me and said, hey, you're being helped, you're supposed to do this. And from my background, I was like, I couldn't believe, because I was just like a regular person, whatever. I thought you needed to be somebody enlightened or something like that, until I started working with some maybe a technique. I had injuries, and then I got healed by a person, and I started studying with this person. All of a sudden, I started having this what's so-called miracle, and I got caught up in the whole momentum process of all things going on, and I'm making things happen, or whatever. And all of a sudden, that presence I felt went away, and I started missing that, because I don't know what it was. But then when I was listening to the audio of Asking It's Given, I heard you're talking about when it started happening to you. And I thought it was happening to Esther. And I thought it was pretty amazing, because I felt something like that. So in my mind, I'm juicing, I'm doing this to try to, it might need to be clear to kind of like, what happened what happened that went away, even though it hasn't been that long that went away, but I'm missing that. And I'm no competition to you though, but I really...
There are a number of things that we want to say to you. Most important is that when you say, I thought I was just like everyone else, you are, in the sense that everyone is an extension of source energy. And the only thing that anyone needs to do in order to allow themselves to be aware of that presence that is always present, is offer a vibration that doesn't cause you to resist it. So it is not surprising to us that someone who was focusing as you were with the martial arts, in other words, in order for you to be in that kind of flow, you were learning how to manage your energy and balance your energy. And the process of meditation in and of itself is simply the process whereby you quiet your mind, which causes you to quiet any thought which might be resistance. And in the absence of resistance, then there is the full allowing of this energy. And so it doesn't matter. We wouldn't spend any time talking about it going away, because it didn't go away. What happened was you began to find things to think about, or vibrational frequencies that made it less easy for you to be aware of it. And something that is really important for you to hear, for all of you, because this is not something that is unique to Esther or to our friend here. It is something that all of you are extensions of source energy. But this is a piece that will really help you. When you are, and we like this in context of everything else that we've been talking about here today, the best part about deliberately preparing your grid, or preparing your point of attraction, your climate, your atmosphere, your point of attraction, the best part about deliberately doing that is that then when it fills in, as it often does, whether you are aware of it or not, you are aware of it. In other words, when you do something on purpose, when you find resonance with source deliberately, and then something happens where you notice that it has happened. Esther, something as simple as she's been playing that silly game Flappy Bird. She wanted to throw her iPad into the ocean at first because it was so difficult. And then she, if you haven't played it, don't. So she made it to like 4 points or 5 points, but nothing more than that. And then one day, after preparing her grid and meditating and making a list of positive aspects, she picked it up and made it all the way to 14. Boom, 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 boom. And for Esther, now this is not exactly the cosmic information you thought you were going to get as you come here and listen to infinite intelligence, but for Esther, it was an indicator that she was in a better vibrational place than she'd ever been while playing that game. And so evidence is flowing in all of the time to you, but often you're missing it if you haven't done the setup. If you haven't deliberately set it up for receiving it, then you miss it when it comes. So that's the first part that we want to say. And the next part, which is really important for you to think about, is that once you begin receiving and you know it, you settle into a sort of, this is the way life really is sort of thing. And so even though some of the same things are happening, you don't notice it as much because the contrast between what you were doing and what you are doing is not as stark. And what that makes us want to say to all of you, this is such an important part of this deliberate creative process, is that many times the way that you determine that you even want something is because you know what the feeling of yearning feels like. You know what the feeling of resistance feels like. And there's a little trap in there for you that makes you think that to want it, you have to feel that edge. And we're wanting to say to you, until that edge is gone, you're not going to realize it. And so nothing's changed except maybe your perspective. Just don't try so hard. Don't try to make anything happen. And don't try to make it happen for anyone else. Let it be something that you are experiencing and then just follow the impulses that come.
The only reason I decided to ask is just because I that happened after the contrast. I said, okay, I don't want more contrast just to have it again, that experience. So I said, that's why I would ask if maybe it was a process, whatever, but I understand maybe.
Well, yes, you do want contrast. You want continual contrast because you want continual choices. But the better you get at this, the more, the smaller the variance in the contrast that comes. In other words, Esther loves the contrast between peacefulness and ease and clarity and enthusiasm and passion. There's contrast in that. Because when you're feeling passionate about something, the energy is really moving fast. It's a high-flying good time. But she doesn't want to move at that energy all of the time. She likes the contemplative contrast. She likes to find interest in. So one day she sat and just made a list of everything that she could think of that described this high-flying, being tuned in, tapped in, turned on, high-flying disc, point of attraction. What emotions feel like that? And the first thing she wrote was ease, and then she wrote clarity, and then she wrote passion and enthusiasm and love and appreciation. In other words, all of those things are on that high-flying disc. It's just you don't always want that sort of momentum relative to it. Okay. Have fun with it.
Thanks.
Be easy about it. All is well.
Thank you.